Some of the questions that you'll see on the SOL test will be like this one. A simple identification. Do you remember this fact? You would probably be surprised that questions like this one are relatively uncommon on the SOL test because there's only so many facts and only so many ways to ask questions like this. And as questions get reused and recycled, it's going to be a little bit more difficult for the test creators to make up new questions. As a result, you really don't see as many questions like this as you might expect. Let's break this question down. Which of the following was a source for a colonial New England covenant community? Wow, that's a lot of terms. New England, covenant community, and source. Okay, let's think about where we're talking about. New England. When? Well, colonial. We know that this is early U.S. history. Think all the way back to August and September. We know that this is very old material. Now, let's look at the answer choices. The Mayflower Compact, the Magna Carta, the Bill of Rights, and finally the Declaration of Independence. Now we know that colonial means early, and that was before we had our own government. So it's asking which of the following was the source for a colonial New England covenant community. Immediately, knowing that the Bill of Rights is the first 10 amendments to the U.S. Constitution, which was passed in 1789, we know that the Bill of Rights is not the right answer. We also know that the Declaration of Independence was signed on July 4th, 1776. That is once we became our own government, so that too is not the correct answer. We now are down to 2 answers, much better than 4 potential answers, the Mayflower Compact and the Magna Carta. Now the Mayflower Compact is the correct answer, but let's think about ways that if you didn't necessarily remember the Mayflower Compact, that you could remember this. Remember, one of the Pilgrim ships was known as the Mayflower. That would be a good way to make a guess. That's a word association. Now, the Magna Carta. For those of you who took World History 2 last year, you'll know that in many ways the Magna Carta serves as a Bill of Rights to the English. You know that it's an English document. So how would an English document be the source for a colonial New England government? We left New England because we were tired of we left England because we were tired of their government and went to New England. So the Magna Carta doesn't make much sense. For those of you who didn't take World History last year and didn't know the Mayflower or the Magna Carta, but if you remember the term Mayflower, that would probably be a pretty good guess, and in this case it would be correct. A lot of times students will get really concerned about all the identification questions that they might run into on the SOL test, but in reality you're going to see a lot of different formats where you get to use and apply the knowledge that you've gained all year. The Mayflower Compact is something that you might not necessarily remember, but if you use test-taking clues and put things in context with dates, you would be able to eliminate 2 of the incorrect chances, dramatically improving your SOL score.